Captain Umar, one of the elements of everything, whether it's the crisis in the Northeast, or it's Python dance in the Southeast, or Crocodile Smile, which is coming up in the Southwest, and so on, or even the sub-national crimes, is this issue of the proliferation of small arms. In the last month or thereabouts, I think they were counting it one after the other, and I think they were talking about something like 80 billion naira worth of small arms that had been recovered by customs in an attempt to smuggle them into the country. But that's the one that was recovered. How about the ones that got away? And what happens to that? Now, I'm asking you as a former troop officer, that is, you were on ground. How do things like this manage to escape into the country? Because we have a very clear system of who is supposed to bear arms and how they're supposed to bear arms. How does this happen?
Okay, it's really very simple, and I'm going to take it from the nucleus, from the very nucleus. For starters, there is no paucity of measures or laws that are meant to deter people from doing these things. So why do we see them do it again? There is nil consequences for doing things. For the past 20, 30 years, when I say nil consequences, we have virtually zero returns on what you can call convictions for this kind of things. When you sustain that trend, other prospective up-and-coming perpetrators become bolder. And it does something again to your law enforcement agencies and the agents. It puts them in a very, very dangerous situation. And naturally, human beings are self-preserving. When they find themselves boxed up like that, they'll make the best of the situation and make it back home safe. We have seen situations where bunkerers on the high seas kill naval officers. They even tell you, take this money and walk away. If you don't, well, you're going to receive orders later to let us go. And the next time we meet you at sea, we won't even give you the chance to arrest us, nor even go back and make a report, because you are becoming a nuisance. That's what zero consequences means. Next, you spoke about proliferation, arms proliferation. Arms proliferation itself shouldn't come as a surprise, given the nature of events we have today in our country. A lot of agitation is going on. And make no mistake about it, everyone has a right to agitate. I have the right to agitate here forward, that my room should become a country. Everybody has that. So democracy is about rights, but then it comes with a twin brother, responsibility. Where there is right, there must be responsibility. Where you find responsibility, you will find rights. What we see today is people seem to be a bit boundless on their rights, but shirk responsibility. I'll make you understand it this way. The armed forces has a responsibility in a democracy. And that responsibility foists certain rights on them. So how does it work? They will dispense with their rights responsibly. The governor of Lagos State, by virtue of his mandate, also has rights as given to him by Lagosians. And he will dispense with those rights responsibly. Rights and responsibilities in a democracy are like 5 and 6, the same size of a coin. The agitators too have rights. Oh yes, they do. And they will dispense with it responsibly. What about the police, the law enforcement officer, the customs officer? Everywhere there are rights for every component of a democracy and responsibilities that come commensurately with those rights. So the two things you see that bog on our arms proliferation levels at the nuclear is 1, zero consequences, and 2, irresponsible conduct. People know all the rights to do whatever they want to do. That's the misconstrued conception of democracy. But they don't know the responsibilities they should bear for having those rights. So law enforcement agencies, customs agencies, even the man who wants to import warheads and missiles, he may feel he has the right to do so. But the thing for Nigerians to do going forward is, whatever you want to do starting today, I advise you ask yourself, am I ready to run with the responsibilities? I have the right to do it, no doubt about it. If you are not ready to run with the responsibilities, then you may want to think twice about it.
Well, let me just draw your attention to this, because the Senate is actually trying to, put across some laws, to, how should I say, give some teeth to some of the provisions that they have already, but not just in terms of arms, but in terms of kidnapping. Let me draw your attention to a bill that was passed on Thursday, outlawing the abduction and wrongful restraint or confinement for ransom for people. Also approving the death sentence. That's what I actually wanted to bring to your attention. Approving the death sentence for anyone who engages in the act of kidnapping, 30 jail year term for anyone who even colludes. Already human rights people are raising red flags. How do you prove that someone is trying to collude with someone else or so? So how do you even see that piece of legislation and, calling up the need for the death sentence in this sort of instance?
The human rights groups also have the right to protest, and they will do so responsibly. The kidnapper who will want to go and kidnap will ask himself if he's ready to run by the responsibility of taking, is it a hostage they call it now? Yeah. And at the end of the day, when I talk about nil returns on consequences, it's not about how elaborate these laws are or at what level they have been passed. If you do a trend analysis of Nigerian laws and policies, they are largely aberrant. When I say aberrant, there are laws we've had promulgated, and those who promulgated it actually were the first to flout them. Now, where you are coming from, a past or a trend that's that heavy, on promulgation, you must seek to make a statement by setting one example.
So even with this death sentence now?
A death sentence is not different from what happens to people when I hear Inna Lillahi wa Inna Ilaihi Raji'un. We're all going to die. If you decide to die sooner by kidnapping children and putting their parents through hell, all the lawyers in the world can come. If they defend you, if they have superior argument, why you go free? If they don't. But don't forget, nobody goes to kidnap, nobody decides to do these things at gunpoint. Rather, they take the victims at gunpoint. So what I'm simply saying is, if we really want to begin to enjoy our democracy, then we must begin to think in terms of two things: rights and responsibility. That's the nucleus, that's the thread that forms the entire fabric. You must claim your rights, no doubt about it, but you must also be responsible for the rights you claim. What we see today is people who know all the rights on earth, but don't even want one responsibility at all. Exactly.